Good morning, my friends. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is where you are and where you're listening. I welcome you to the Morning Mindset. For those of you who are new to the Morning Mindset, my name is Kerry Green. I'm just very excited that you're here because it means that you're taking action. You're taking control in your own life. You're not allowing the drift of life to overtake you. You are the one who's taking initiative to move yourself in the direction that you know you should move. And that is a wonderful thing, because when you move into a place where you can get aligned with God's truth, it's going to change everything for you. So I thank you for being here, and I encourage you to continue listening and continue partnering with the Morning Mindset family. There's over 20,000 downloads of this podcast every single day. It's growing all the time. I encourage you to share it with others, especially people in Bible studies, in home groups, in your church, who you know could go on this journey with you. And maybe you could strike up conversations about what you're listening to, and you could have Bible studies around it. I mean, there's all kinds of applications, ways you could use this resource to grow together in your faith. I would encourage you to do that. Now, we've been looking at 1 Peter chapter 3. And we're moving into verses 13, 14, 15, right in there. I don't know exactly how far we're going to get today. But one of these verses is one that we've heard quite a lot in the church. And it's been used, I think, well as far as the context goes. But there's a little bit of the context that's been left out. So let's read the verse that we've heard a lot, and then we'll go back and we'll look at the context that it's in and see how that informs a broader understanding of what it should mean. The verse in mind is verse 15, where Peter says, "But in your hearts, honor Christ the Lord as holy." Some versions say, "Set apart Christ as Lord." And then it says, "Always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you. Yet do it with gentleness and respect." You see, now that's a great verse. I love the sentiment in that verse. But we have to broaden our perspective here a little bit by looking at the immediate verses surrounding it, beginning and after, because that context will give us better understanding of what Peter is talking about. You see, in general, he's saying you need to have yourself committed to living under the lordship of Jesus Christ, and be ready to tell people who ask you why you're able to have hope in your life. And you should give that answer to them with gentleness and with respect toward them as a human being, as another person. But he says that in a context of being mistreated. And that really informs the verse, doesn't it? You see, when you're able to do that in the face of mistreatment, it puts this entirely different spin on your behavior in the eyes of those who are mistreating you and in the eyes of those who are observing the situation. I mean, let's create a scenario. Say that you were imprisoned for your faith and the guards come in every day and beat you. Or once a week they come in and take away your food and won't let you eat for 3 or 4 days. And your response is not one of anger. It's not one of cursing them. It's not one of trying to get even with them. Your response is one of praying for them. Your response is one of blessing them, treating them kindly, loving them in return. How long do you think that would go on before those soldiers begin wondering, what is wrong with this nut? How can this person do this? I've treated them so badly. How can they respond with kindness? You see, that's the context Peter's talking about. And by the way, that description I just gave you is an actual scene that comes out of the life of a guy named Richard Wurmbrand, who experienced all that in a Nazi prison. And you see, Richard's life did exactly what this verse is describing. It caused others to question and say, how can this guy have hope in such a bleak circumstance? You see, that is what we are called to as Christ followers. We're called to a different kind of life because it shines brightly in a dark world that is used to doling out revenge rather than mercy and love. Yes, be ready to give an answer, especially when you are being mistreated.